Hi everybody, welcome back to Read Instead. I'm Jake, glad to have you here today. I was thinking about what video to make next. I thought it would be a good idea to make a video of 5 books that I think are books that could start people out on their reading journey. All 5 of these books encouraged me to read more. I found them all highly entertaining in different ways. When I picked these 5 books out too, I just want to let you guys know that I tried to have the idea in mind of maybe picking different genres. I have a couple of genres that I'm more sort of, I identify with them more. I usually find a little more entertaining the stories within those genres, but I do read just about all genres within fiction. So without further ado, why don't we get into the 5 books that I think could start anybody out on their reading journey. Okay, first and foremost, The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. I hope that not everybody watching this video has seen the movie that came out in, I believe, 2006 with Tom Hanks. It was a pretty good movie, but I don't think it was nearly as good as this book. I watched that movie just about when it came out, and I read this book so many years later that it was ample enough amount of time that I had forgotten most of the plot. I had never forgotten what the sort of whole the outline of the story was, or what the idea behind the story was, but I had forgotten most of the plot, where I could still find this highly entertaining. The reason why I put this on the list is because this is the quintessential page turner. That's what this book is. It's a page turner. When you get to the end of each chapter of this book, you just about have to go to the next page. I would recommend, I say this somewhat facetiously, but not too, I would recommend starting to read this book early in the morning, because you'll probably just want to keep turning the pages until you're done with the book. You'll read it in one sitting. It's that kind of a thing. And for those of us who have to work early in the morning, I wouldn't start reading this book anytime, say, afternoon. Because you'll be up late probably finishing it. So The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, an absolute thriller. I think most people would enjoy this book. Okay, switching it up a bit. We're switching it up a lot, actually, from The Da Vinci Code to The Bridges of Madison County by Robert James Waller. This is, in its essence, a love story. One of the reasons why I wanted to put this book on this list is because it's very short. It's not a long book. It's not daunting in any way, and I know sometimes bigger books can be somewhat of a put-off for people who are trying to get into reading and make reading a hobby. This is a short book, and this is about the cataclysmic event of 2 people meeting. And I know that sounds simple. It is simple. It's a simple concept, but Robert James Waller makes these 2 people come alive. He makes their love for each other, their instant attraction and their love for each other so real and powerful. And, you know, with love usually comes a little bit of sacrifice. And in this case, in the case of these 2 protagonists in this book, there's a lot of sacrifice involved, and questions need to be answered, and big life decisions need to be made. That's what this book's about. You know, Robert James Waller, if I digress for a second here. Robert James Waller, I've heard him talk about the writing of this book. He was like a math professor at Iowa State University or something like that, and he tells the story of him taking a weekend ride in his truck across the state of Iowa. And as he was driving, the universe just started speaking to him and giving him this story that's in this novel. And he speaks of how he had to get it out and onto paper. And he had never, like I said, he had never written a novel before. He had written math literature books. So this is you know, he had no experience with anything like this, and it's kind of intriguing because the magical ways in which this book was produced is kind of, it mimics the magical way in which love sort of just absolutely obliterates these two people in this novel. I won't say too much more. It is a love story, like I said, I tried to kind of mix it up on this list, but I think most people could read this book and really enjoy it, and probably encourage you to read another book after this one. Okay, what's next on the list? Of course, right? It's got to be The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is a story of adventure. It's a story of finding courage and strength to complete the task before you. It's a story of teamwork, and it immerses you in the world of Middle Earth so seamlessly and easily. It seems as though it's just effortless in the way that Tolkien makes Middle Earth come alive, and it doesn't seem far-fetched in any way. It just literally seems like another place, another world, another realm. And I never, questioned why is this or why that or how is this possible. It's fantasy, so you sort of have to approach it with that sort of mindset. But there's so many more fundamental elements of this book that make it great. And like I said, it's the story of courage. It's a coming of age story. It's a story between good and evil. In the adventure, and whenever I think of this book, there's one particular scene that comes to mind, and it's just about, I'll just share very briefly, but the hobbits are sort of stuck in this castle, and they need to get out, and what they do is they hide themselves in these barrels, and then they end up rolling out of sort of a water output along the side wall of the castle and end up in a river, and it's just so fun. This is I guess maybe this is the best word to use to describe this book, because it's fun. This is a fun book, and that's why I wanted to add it on this list of books that I think can start anybody off on their reading journey. The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Okay, next on the list, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I may be saying that last name wrong. I do apologize. It might be pronounced Michaelides. But nonetheless, this is a psychological thriller that I enjoyed a lot. I read it maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I believe it came out in 2019. And for those of you who maybe are a little bit more into the darker stuff, what drives people to do evil things. There's certainly a lot of mystery involved in this too. I found when I read this, the journal entries by the main protagonist, who's this girl named Alicia, who's actually the silent patient. I'm really not giving anything away when I say that, but there are these diary entries interwoven throughout the novel from her. And through those diary entries, you begin to realize her life and her inner turmoil. And I will say this, I think, unless you're a very experienced thriller reader, and you have been your whole life, the twist that happens at the end of this book will really throw you for a loop. And so the character development that takes place throughout the book, the mystery that underlies the whole thing, and then the twist at the end, I don't see how anybody could read this book and not be entertained by it. So that's why I wanted to add it to this list. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Try it out. Okay, last on the list, Dracula by Bram Stoker. I have this little edition here. I apologize if you can't see the title, but nonetheless, I'm sure you've heard of the book before. This is where it all started. This is where the character of Count Dracula of vampires started. And before I go any further, I just would like to input this and let you know the format of how this book is written. This book is entirely written in journal entries and letters to the various characters in the book. For me, that clicked. It just really clicked. I've heard some people say that it was difficult for them to get into it because of those, but for me it just clicked, and I think it's clicked for most people for the past 120 years. I believe this book was written in 1895 or something like that. So that's why I felt confident putting it on this list as a book that I think most people could read and really be entertained by it and be encouraged to read another book after this. Because of those journal entries and because of those letters back and forth between the characters, it made it all the more eerie to me, and it made it all the more realistic. I don't know why that way. It was almost like reading, it was like reading a newspaper. When you read a newspaper, it's most of a newspaper is it's nonfiction. It's real. So I had that same sort of sense when I was reading this. There's even though you wouldn't think a lot of plot would be able to get carried out in a book with that kind of a format between journal entries and letters to one another, because I suppose everything, if it's journal entries and letters, that means the thing already happened, right? Well, it's not like that. There's a ton of plot to this, and you're on the edge of your seat trying to figure out what's going to happen next. And then, of course, Dr. Van Helsing shows up about, I want to say, 2/3 of the way through the book, and he's the man, right? If you guys know anything about the the folklore of Count Dracula. So I wanted to put this on this list. If you're looking to have maybe the hair on the back of your neck raise up a little bit, I think this would be just the book for you. Dracula by Bram Stoker. Okay, guys, there you have it. My 5 books that I think just about everyone could pick one of these books and connect with, and hopefully encourage you to read another book after that one. Again, I did my best. I tried to pick from different genres, but more than anything, I just wanted to pick 5 books that I felt confident anybody could read and enjoy, and be encouraged to read another book after that one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned to the next one. I'll see you next time. Take care.